7 muscle mass loss mistakes you may be making with your Zepbound weight loss and tirzepatide weight loss that you may not be doing that you may want to reevaluate after this video. Hi, beautiful friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I've lost over 106 pounds the last 2 years of being on Zepbound and Mounjaro and tirzepatide compound. And on today's episode, I want to do a deep dive on a question I've gotten asked a ton about muscle mass loss. This is me, my before and after with lifting and now currently, and I'm wearing currently today a size medium dress. I don't know who I am, but I know that I can speak on this topic after 2 years of really battling through morbid obesity to now being at almost a quote normal weight, although normal is a dishwasher setting. So what is that? Let's dive into the mistakes. Okay, so I pulled up, there is a JAMA article. I will link it down in the description link below. Just click the ... more button. All of my resources, everything I'm talking about today will be linked down there. Just click the more button twice and you can see everything. The first thing is from this JAMA article is talking about muscle mass loss. We hear it so much that there's muscle mass loss that happens with any kind of weight loss, not just with Zepbound or Mounjaro or tirzepatide or WEGOVY or semaglutide compound. It's in general, whenever you lose a substantial amount of weight, you're gonna probably have muscle mass loss. And so combating that, I wanted to talk about some of the mistakes I've made and what I've learned to hopefully help you that I wish I knew back in the day when just starting Zepbound or being on Zepbound now for 2 years over the last year, really deep dive into it. So this JAMA article talks about the therapeutic benefits of relative decrease in body weight, a 5 to 10% weight loss for people with type 2 diabetes, improves glycemic control, whereas a 15 to 25% weight loss can achieve diabetes remission. And so how do we bump up from 5 to 10% weight loss to 15 to 25% weight loss? Well, it's changing what we're eating and working out and somehow getting into a calorie deficit, which for me, Zepbound has dramatically applied that appetite suppression and then also the level of fullness and satiety when I'm eating. It's crazy. I'm like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. It truly has been a miracle drug for me the last 2 years, but making permanent lifestyle changes has been a part of this because the JAMA article goes in and talks about that the ability to lose large amount of weight loss has typically been limited by bariatric surgery, and now GLP-1s are helping that with a mean weight loss of 15 to 25% at the 1 to 1.5 year mark. So then it goes on to talking about obese individuals are carrying, this is a September 21, 2024 article in JAMA by Lisa Martin, and she talks about how obese individuals are carrying weight around anyways. Like, having an extra 106 pounds, I can even go back to this before picture to versus what it is now. Having an extra 106 pounds on there, I naturally was carrying around more muscle because I was carrying 106 pounds of weight. It's like permanent weight training all the freaking time, 24/7. And so taking that away, when muscle is lost, it can be reasonable that muscle mass does not have to be as great. This principle does work with bone density as well. And you're going to want to stay till the end because we're going to talk about bone density too, which is another factor you may not have thought about because I certainly didn't. With more obese individuals are less likely to have osteoporosis. Clutch your pearls, honey. There's actually a benefit for being obese. Talking about this though, is that there is natural muscle mass loss because we're carrying around that extra 106 pounds. I'm not anymore. So therefore I need to make it up on the back end. I personally, and I thought this was the biggest mistake for a long time, but I want to share with you it actually wasn't. I have felt such, not shame about it, but kind of being a little bit embarrassed the last year, being like, why can't I get on my grind with weight training at the 1 year mark? And you can go back, I have like almost 600 videos with my Zepbound weight loss journey of where I keep talking about, I'm gonna weight train today, I'm gonna do it today, and you can see me really wanting to, but then not and falling flat and falling short. And mistake number one is that I was truly afraid to do weight training. I had back in high school and in college, long time, fun fact, I was in the preliminary for Miss America pageant here in Virginia. I was well-versed with weight training. I was an athlete in high school, played varsity soccer as a freshman, varsity basketball as a sophomore, was a really good athlete, so I knew how to lift. I just didn't and was paralyzed by that. And I recently heard, actually it was this morning, Layla Hermosi, my business coach, was talking about people who say that they have imposter syndrome. And she's like, I'd rather you not use that and in fact just say that you're just inexperienced. And so what I want to share with you is you just may be inexperienced, if you're like me, of where you have this lifting past experience, but then don't being morbidly obese. I was very afraid I was going to hurt myself. My knees crack, snack, crackle, pop like Rice Krispies when I was lifting, and I was like, I'm going to hurt myself or do it wrong. And so I want to encourage you that if you are afraid, find something you want to enjoy doing. I now have whole weights in my house. We actually just bought a new weight training system. I'll link it down in the description link below. And I'm really, really excited for this new weight. It's a whole like lifting bars and stuff like that here at my house. But my husband lifts too, because we firmly believe in lifting. As we get older, we need to have that muscle. We need it. And in fact, it was linked on, and I'll link this also down below. It's strongerscience.com, which is not a reputable source, but it had on there, because I was looking for how much in a day does muscle burn for the calories. So by me lifting, how much extra weight am I going to burn? You know how people always talk about that? I'm like, yeah, tell me how much. It's going to be hundreds of calories. Would you think that? If you thought like I did, you would actually be incorrect. It's actually skeletal muscle burns only 6 calories per pound per day of rest. 6 calories per pound per day of rest. So that's interesting to me, per pound per day of rest. I thought it was a lot more on that. And so it is burning a lot more. It is. But that is, to be honest, that actually kind of is. Let's just acknowledge that is. But I was so afraid to even just jump in and dive in doing it over the last year. It's really taken me the last year of trial and error. And I want to encourage you, just start. However you start with muscle mass to lift, just start. And for me, it was just walking my dog. I'm like, I'm just going to walk my dogs. That's going to be my form of exercise. I had gym memberships, and I was like, I don't have the time to drive to a gym. I don't have 35 minutes to drive there, 35 minutes to drive home, to park, walk in, go to the gym, or to the locker room, 15 minutes. I don't have that extra hour and a half in my day. I don't have that. You might, but I don't. So I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I don't have time to do that. How can I get in, get out, and get a workout in? And so for me, it made sense to do it within my home, which is also why I love walking, because I can go walk 10,000 steps in a day. I only have, by the way, 1,500. I got to get on it. After this video, I'm like, I'm going walking. But I just needed to start, and that's tip number 1. If you don't know how to do it, just start. Literally, I started with wall Pilates because a beautiful group member in my free encouragement group, which I'll link down below, had recommended wall Pilates. So I just started doing that. And then that evolved to giving me confidence, because we need to build evidence that we can do things, that we're not this formally and breaking and smashing these old belief systems that we're still morbidly obese, because we're not. As we continue on GLP-1 weight loss journey, new belief systems need to be activated. And so activate those belief systems by having evidence. And so for me, the evidence building was wall Pilates. I literally went on YouTube and went senior wall Pilates. There's a lady who wears these blue leggings. She's really nice with brown hair, super cute looking on the thumbnail. Just start. If it's that one or whatever you want to do, they're free, they're easy. And honey, even though it was for seniors, I worked. I was sore, I was sweating, and I was huffing and puffing. It was a great workout. That gave me the confidence to then start actual Pilates, which then gave me the confidence to actually start weight training. And so I bought Pavolve, and I did Shaun T's. I've done a bunch of different like workout systems like Chalene Johnson's. And now I have a lifting coach. So that's why I bought the whole weights. My husband does resistant bands. He doesn't want to do weights. He does weights, but he also does a lot with resistant bands too. You can do resistant bands. You can even do cans in your house to start. Just get started. Number 2, muscle recovery for me was huge, learning more about that. When I first started taking LMNT electrolytes, I bought them at the beginning of my Zepbound journey 2 years ago because because it has magnesium, potassium, sodium. And so I wanted to have something to help me with the side effects. And so that's why I started taking LMNT. I'm like, okay, what's going to help me with side effects? We know that there's diarrhea, constipation, nausea, and vomiting, the 4 most common mild gastrointestinal side effects. I'm going to have LMNT electrolytes to help me with that. That's why I started taking them. I continue to take LMNT electrolytes because of the muscle recovery that I get from weight training now. And then also the side effects too. And also because it helps me get my water in for the day. My personal favorite is orange salt, but they have raspberry salt. They have a ton, watermelon. They have a ton of different flavors. They even have cans now. The cans don't have maltodextrin in them. You can easily just pop these in your car. I don't have to mix anything, which is one of the reasons why I like them. But it does have magnesium, potassium, sodium. They are sweeter tasting. They're so good. You can have them over ice. I like to have these as virgin non-alcoholic mocktails. Particularly these, I'll make them like a daiquiri. But in terms of lifting that muscle mass recovery, I'm sore after I lift, and this tastes good to me. Now, these do taste salty, so customize it to your own taste. For me, I use a third of the stick, a third of the stick, a third of the stick throughout the day. So 1/3 will go into a 40-ounce tumbler. I like it to be more, I'm getting 120 ounces of water per stick, basically. You can do whatever. If you want to do way less than that, do whatever you wish. And I put it with my nugget ice. It's exquisite. But that muscle mass recovery, super, super helpful. Now you can go to drinkelement.com/queen, QUEEN, and get 8 free sticks with any purchase. People ask me, do I take my element before my workouts or after my workouts? I like doing it before, but you do you. There's no caffeine added in there either, but some people do use them as pre-workout drinks, but there's no caffeine added in. I like having it and sipping it beforehand, and then sometimes I'll sip it after, but usually I've already finished because my workouts are later on in the day. I've usually finished drinking them by that point. But do whatever. My kid is 9 years old. He's a very active soccer player and now recently become very active with rock climbing. You know what we use for his muscle cramps? Element. His favorite's the watermelon. He's obsessed. He's like, Mom, my legs are cramping. Can you make me some Element? Absolutely, baby. I give my kid literally Element. Number 2, do it again with muscle recovery. I take Element electrolytes because then keep doing it every other day. I'm weight training every other day. I typically weight train because my coach told me to on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but you do whatever matches your schedule. Number 3, muscle mass mistakes with Zepbound weight loss was not that it's going to hurt, but I'm going to feel that muscle, it's breaking down and then rebuilding with the tissue on it when I'm lifting. And so therefore, it's going to not feel super comfortable sometimes. So I do a lot of Epsom salt baths. That's been very helpful for me. And it also, the byproduct I didn't realize was it calms my brain down. Taking a bath literally for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Literally, it's just my time just to light some beautiful candles and I mentally need that. I didn't realize that with this whole thing, like the physical, mental, spiritual component of it, I do need that like reset mentally. So taking Epsom salt baths helps me with the muscle mass recovery with the lifting component of it. Number 4, bone muscle support. My doctor told me about how, going back to the osteoporosis thing I mentioned earlier, that the muscle mass is helping the structure of our bones, right? I don't want to have brittle bones when I get older. I want to be strong. I just came out of having pneumonia. Some of you guys saw I had pneumonia. It was awful. I don't want to be reliant on people taking care of me. I want to take care of myself. I want to be independent when I'm older. And therefore, that means I need to be strong. I need to have strong bones. And then the bones around it, the muscle is helping to support the bones. I had not made that connection until a doctor told me that. My doctor told me that and was like, you know, part of this building your muscle is to support your bones, right? It's bone support. And I'm like, what? Yeah, it's helping to, and I feel like I'm sometimes smarter than the average wearer, but I felt very dumb in that context because I just didn't make that correlation of, oh yeah, this is also helping literally support the structure of my bones with the muscle around it. So you're helping your bones too with the structural support with muscle. Number 5, I want to encourage you, and the major mistake that I had made, thinking I should be doing certain things when I'm not a gym bro. I'm not that. If you are that great, I'm not trying to judge, like you do you. But for me, that's why I wanted to start with something super feminine like Pilates, ballet, things that are still building muscle. And there's so many different things we can do to help support that muscle mass building, whatever we're doing to lift, as long as we're doing it. Does it go back to taking a gymnastics course for you because it's helping to build that muscles and doing on like the bars and things like that? Is that something for you that would be fun that also is in conjunction with muscle, building muscle? Finding activities that support that make sense for helping to lift. However you get the lifting in, as long as I feel like we're starting on that path to do it. And really, if you go back to what I said from number 1, I was afraid. It was the inexperience I was afraid of. That was why, is I just didn't know what I was doing. So if you don't know what you're doing, then finding something you want to do and finding a coach to match to do it. Literally today, do not have manana syndrome. Not tomorrow. Is that tomorrow? I'm trying to remember my Spanish. Today. Do it today, not tomorrow, today. I need you today. That you're going to leave this video knowing today what you're going to do. So what activities do you want to do to support it? Is it finding the wall Pilates thing I talked about for free here on YouTube? This does not have to be expensive. When I talk about my home gym and things like it doesn't have to be, you don't have to make it that. Don't pole vault over a mouse turd. Literally finding things, there's free resources here on YouTube that you can totally utilize if you don't have the finances to do it. Don't let that be your excuse. Okay, number 6. The mistake that I had made, I guess it wasn't a mistake, but I didn't put that much stock into it though, is how much loose skin I would have from losing so much weight. I mean, substantial weight loss for me, 106 pounds with this difference here. I mean, that is that's a completely different body doing this lifting now. And so my body is completely different lifting. I need to have on there the support for it, but loose skin. I didn't realize how much better my loose skin would look with muscle under it. So the vanity metrics of it too, there's a ton of loose skin. My stomach looks like dough. My thighs just look saggy. Maybe one day I'll show it. I'm not one of those people where I'm like, I won't, but maybe I will one day. I'm like, maybe I just will. I had been so embarrassed and I'm like, maybe I will just show my thighs and wear shorts. I don't know. We'll see. But I really do like undergarments. May your undergarments and coffee be strong today. Having and looking better with muscle for the loose skin component of it. It really does actually help. It really does. When there's like muscle, I'm like, that actually does look better. It's not going to take away my loose skin, but certainly it does help. And so that was one of the things too that I want to encourage you of. If you're worried about loose skin, it has not taken it away from me. Loose skin is loose skin, but it's definitely helped. Number 7. I did not realize how much the evidence supporting of doing these activities would change my mind and how much my mind needed the evidence to be able to lift. Doing this now, I'm like, oh, I do lift. It's who I am. It's my identity. I lift. My hot husband lifts. I lift. My kid sees me lifting. My kid sees me doing bench presses and is like, whoa. And I'm like, I know. Like, having that evidence to support this, big deal, because it's changed my brain and my brain has needed that. I always say that I am a turtle. I feel like I am a slow turtle when it comes to some of these things. And one of them has been changing my brain to catch up that no, I'm not this morbidly obese person anymore. That's actually not me. I'm not that person anymore. I am actually very strong. And so stacking the evidence, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. It really is a belief system now of now it's not a question of that inexperience and afraid feeling I don't have anymore. I know that I lift. I know that I'm strong. But also I want to encourage you, for me, it's for my future self. I cannot wait to be a grandma. My husband thinks I'm nuts, but I really am. I can't wait to be a grandma. I'm like so excited to be a grandparent in like 20 plus years. I tell my kid all the time, I'm like, in your 30s, then we can readdress this. You do you, whatever you want, but really in your 30s, I can't wait to be a grandma. And I can't wait. I'm like, I'll move near you if you want, but I want to be able to lift those grandbabies, play with those grandbabies. On an airplane, I want to be able to lift my suitcase into the overhead bin without having to ask for any help, which you can't do anyways. You're not supposed to have flight attendants help you anyways to do that, but I digress. Doing these activities, so when I'm literally lifting weights, I'm thinking of future grandbabies. I'm thinking of lifting my suitcase into that overhead bin. When I'm doing these lifting things, that's what I'm thinking of. And so I want to encourage you, do you have certain activities that you can also equate for your lifting that will help you too? For me, it is that suitcase because I do like to travel of like, I can put my suitcase in. I don't need help with that. Me just literally having pneumonia and not being able to, like, I was walking like this. My husband's like, you're walking so hunched over. And so I'm like, thank you so much for telling me that. So I've really been trying to focus in on my posture, but I felt so weak that I was like, I am not going to be weak like that when I get older. I'm not. I'm not going to do it now, and I'm not going to do it when I get older. But that is contingent upon my daily activity and daily routine now. The seeds that I'm planting now, I am a farmer, is the future growth that is going to happen on my farm in the future for my body. Am I sowing good seeds? And it's amazing to me now, I haven't lifted in a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. how much I have gotten, how weak I feel. I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Today is like the day back into the gym. I'm finally cleared. I can lift. I don't have lung issues. Before I could like literally couldn't breathe well. Now I feel like I can breathe to go lift. I am really excited to go hit it. I am excited to go hit it. And so I want to encourage you on that. How little of time, I mean, a week and a half, 2 weeks to lose that skill set. That stinks. I'm like, man, that went away pretty quickly. So keeping up the routine, keep going one day at a time. Short, long, one day at a time, but for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? Like this is, I want to be strong. I look at people in my family who don't lift and I'm like, you look like frail little birds. And I don't want to be a frail little bird. I used to be like, oh, they're so skinny. And now I'm like, I don't want to be skinny. I want to be like strong. I want to be strong skinny, of where there's muscle under that and where I can take care of myself and I can lift stuff. When I bring in a Costco order, that it's not a big deal. I want to ask for my husband and my son's help because they're gentlemen, but not because I legitimately need it. So anyways, I hope this video has been helpful. For me, it was very eye-opening and very motivating once I started getting into the lifting culture for women to see healthy women lifting. And it's the loving choice. It's the next loving act. And if you don't know what to do, start with wall Pilates. Start with a basic lifting for women, basic lifting for men, basic lifting just in general, basic lifting for 50-year-olds, basic lifting for 6-year-olds. Just start. And I want to hear today your accountability question. What are you doing today to just start? Not tomorrow, today. Go do 10 push-ups. Go do whatever, right? Just start. And we do a little thing here called emojis of the day. It tells me that you made it this far in the video. And I always love to see who watches till the end because it helps me to get to know you better because I truly do care about you and I do care about your success and I am sincerely cheering you on. Our emoji of the day is going to be a lifting emoji. And if you don't have an emoji, you can just write lifting or type it in. I know so many of you are watching on your TVs now, which I'm like, hopefully with Botox, may my Botox be strong too now that you're watching me on a TV. Hopefully the pores are not too porous. We were like, I'm watching on TV. I'm like, oh my, that's bigger than a little screen on your phone. You can see much more. But our emoji of the day is lifting. It also is my bat signal to pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, uplift you in positive thought. Make sure to, I highly recommend, if you're lifting, get drinkelement.com/queen, QUEEN. Get the cans, the sparkling electrolyte cans or the packets, whatever makes the best sense for you. There's a ton of different flavors. They're delicious. And it's made such a big difference for me. I love them so much. It's made such a big difference in my hydration, but also in my muscle mass lifting journey, in addition to like the side effect component of it too. So I'll link that also in the description link below as well. My beautiful friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. I hope that this video has been helpful for you. What are you going to apply? Tell me also in the comments too. I'm excited to hear what you're going to be doing. Tell me because I'm dying to know. I'm waiting with bated breath. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys on tomorrow's episode. Have a great day.